There are moments in life when you feel an undeniable emptiness. Perhaps you are navigating new connections or find yourself within a relationship or have just emerged from one. Inside, there is a constant search, an undefinable void. At night, your thoughts drift to past experiences, and you might find yourself checking their last seen status on messaging apps. Every silence feels like a rejection, every delayed response a form of abandonment. It is as if you are trapped in a state of emotional dependence, seeking love like a sailor desperately yearning to reach shore from a sinking ship. But what happens when love is sought from this place of profound emptiness? Let me tell you plainly. The answer lies in a fundamental law of energy and psychology. Let's explore the stark truth that governs who you attract into your life. The law of attraction: you get what you are, not what you want. You attract what you are, not what you want. Carl Jung expressed this with a stark truth. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Do you understand the profound implication of this? If you do not heal that pervasive sense of incompleteness within you, if you do not confront that inner void, you will continue to attract relationships that merely reinforce that very emptiness. You will believe that every new person who enters your life has the power to complete you, to rescue you. And inevitably, when they disappoint you, as they will, you will suffer even more profoundly. This is a self-destructive cycle. And what is worse, you remain largely unaware that you are the one perpetuating it. Pause for a moment and reflect. How has your own story of love unfolded? Have you sought relationships to complete you or to share your completeness? These are two fundamentally different quests. One leads to neediness and dependence, the other to liberation. When you expect someone to complete you, you hand over the keys to your happiness to them. If they remain, you are content. If they depart, you shatter. This is not love, this is addiction. And addiction is the root cause of much of the suffering in relationships. Jung spoke extensively of the process of individuation, our intrinsic need to become whole, self-sufficient, and autonomous individuals. According to his philosophy, it is only when we discover ourselves, when we face the void within, that we can form healthy relationships from a place of true strength and balance. Yet, most of us do precisely the opposite. We search for someone to validate us, to make us feel loved because we have not learned to love ourselves first. Let me share a true story, a story that could be yours or anyone's. There was a woman who consistently fell in love with emotionally unavailable men. She was perpetually hurt. She always felt she had to do more, give more, to earn affection. She could not comprehend why she was perpetually drawn to the same type of partner. Until one day, amidst an emotional crisis, she posed a brutally honest question to herself. Why do I keep repeating this pattern? And in that moment, everything became clear. She did not believe herself worthy of love. So, she tried to prove her value through sacrifice. She settled for crumbs because, deep down, she believed that was all she deserved. Here is the truth. If you carry an unhealed wound of abandonment within you, you will attract people who will inevitably reactivate that wound. This is not because the universe is cruel. It is because your subconscious seeks to validate what it believes about itself. If you believe you are not enough, you will attract relationships that reinforce that belief. If you believe you need someone to be happy, you will attract people who make you feel incomplete in their absence. The reality of your outer world is but a profound reflection of the state of your inner world. So, if this is the core of the problem, what is the solution? What binds us to this destructive dynamic? In this next part, we will explore the powerful energy that sabotages your relational life and why it is your greatest adversary. The paradox of neediness, why desperation repels love. So, what is the solution? You must engage in what Jung called facing your shadow. You must look directly into that inner void instead of expecting someone else to fill it. You must confront your deepest fears, the fear of loneliness, the possibility of rejection, the stark reality that no one is coming to rescue you. Because when you do this, you will discover something truly incredible. You do not need to be rescued. You are your own savior. When love emerges from a place of fullness, the dynamic shifts entirely. You no longer choose from lack, but from freedom. You do not seek someone to complete you. You seek someone with whom you can share your completeness. And when you arrive at that state, the people you attract will be fundamentally different. You will cease to fall into the trap of unbalanced relationships. You will stop pursuing the emotionally unattainable, because you will no longer require external validation. It is in that moment when true love arrives that it is founded not upon need, but upon choice. It is two whole individuals deciding to walk together, not because they need each other, but because they choose each other. This is where many people become stuck. They desire to attract healthy love, yet they continue to operate from a place of scarcity. They continue to search externally for what can only be found within, and this is where the second key insight comes into play. Even if you understand that love built on neediness will ultimately devastate you, there is something even more powerful that binds you to that destructive dynamic: the energy of despair, that hidden anxiety that sabotages your relational life without you even realizing it. And in the next part, I will explain why this energy is your greatest adversary and precisely how it pushes away what you truly desire. Why does the energy of neediness repel what you want? I will answer that immediately, but I know you possess a powerful mind, and for that reason, I urge you to like this video now and subscribe. This greatly assists us in continuing to produce content that empowers you. Have you liked it? Have you subscribed? Then let us continue with all our might. When you live in a state of deficiency, your energy transforms into a magnet for relationships that precisely mirror that deficiency. This is not mystical, it is a profound psychological truth. Jung taught us that what we repress, we project. If there is only emptiness within you, you will attract people who reinforce that emptiness. Consider someone who has always felt insufficient. Even as a child, they learned that they had to do something extraordinary to be loved, to achieve excellent grades, to be compliant, to be the perfect person for others. They grew up with the idea that love was not given merely for being, but had to be earned. So, when they met someone, they would go to impossible lengths to be loved. They would adapt to the other person's desires, ignoring their own needs. They would swallow their discomfort and settle for crumbs, all for the sake of not losing the other person. This is what Jung referred to as the shadow, the parts of ourselves that we have rejected or denied, that we refuse to see. And the desperate need for love originates from an unintegrated shadow, because, deep down, what you seek in others is precisely what you have never given yourself. How can you attract healthy love when you are filled with anxiety, fear, and despair? You cannot. The energy of neediness pushes others away. It is like a glass with cracks. No matter how much water you pour into it, it will never be truly full. This is the paradox of attraction. Look around you. The people with more options, those who are more desired, who exude confidence, are not those who beg for love. They are the ones who are at peace with themselves. And here lies the great paradox. Love does not come when you desperately need it. It comes when you no longer need it, because in that moment you cease to vibrate from a place of lack and begin to attract from a place of fullness. Consider this. What do you imagine will happen when you approach someone with desperation, with a fear of abandonment, with an urgency to fill your voids? You will suffocate them, overwhelm them, frighten them away. And if, by some means, that person stays, they do so out of pity or their own needs. It creates a bond founded on addiction, not genuine love. This is a destructive cycle. Neediness has a distinct scent. It is not just expressed through words, it manifests in every gesture, every gaze, every unsettling silence. It is the impatience when a reply is not immediate, the anxiety when someone does not reciprocate the same enthusiasm, the feeling that you will fall apart without that person. And this serves no purpose other than to push away what you truly desire. Let me give you a real example. The cycle of desperation. Consider someone who has just emerged from a relationship. The fear of being alone is so profound that they immediately begin searching for someone else to fill that void. They start messaging several people. They seek validation on social media. They cling to even the smallest sign of interest. In their own mind, they believe they are searching for love, but in reality, they are escaping from themselves. And what they find is not love, but a mirror of their own desperation. People who are also searching for something missing in themselves, but who cannot fill that void in another. Initially, everything seems fine. There is excitement, constant texting, companionship, but slowly, that neediness begins to reveal itself. They demand more attention, more presence, interpreting every silence as a rejection. And sooner or later, the other person pulls away, because the weight of that intense neediness is simply too much to bear, and the cycle begins anew. You understand the cycle. You see the paradox. So, how do you break it? The answer lies in one of Jung's most powerful concepts. We are now entering the path to true freedom, the journey to becoming whole, the path to wholeness, Jung's secret of individuation. The crucial question here is, how do you break this cycle? The path to escaping a state of neediness, to shedding that feeling of deficiency, is not easy, because your mind has been programmed for years to believe that you are not enough without someone else. But this is an illusion. The only way to break it is to confront your own emptiness, to spend time with yourself without distractions, to stop using relationships as a means of escape, to ask yourself with brutal honesty, why am I so desperately searching for love in others? What part of myself am I ignoring? It is uncomfortable, it is difficult, but it is the only way to begin attracting what you truly desire. Because if you do not heal, you will continue to repeat the same pattern with different people. And deep down, you already know this. Here, a fundamental concept of Jung comes into play. Individuation. Individuation is the process of integrating all parts of yourself, including the parts you have rejected. It is accepting that you do not need anyone to complete you because you are already complete and whole. When you reach this point, the love you attract changes radically. You no longer attract it from lack, but from abundance. You do not seek someone to complete you. You seek someone with whom you can share your wholeness. This is the key point. If you are not a whole individual, if you have not undergone this process, the love you attract will be a reflection of your fragmented state. The trap of incompleteness. Since childhood, we have been sold the idea of a soulmate. We are taught to believe that someone will come to complete us, that love is about finding that special person who will make us feel whole. But this is a fatal trap, because it is part of the premise that we are inherently incomplete. When you believe you are not enough, you will cling to any relationship that makes you feel otherwise, even if it is merely an illusion. The problem is that in this desperate search for external completeness, you compromise yourself. You conform, you mold yourself, you adjust to the expectations of the other, and unknowingly, you sacrifice your reality, your authenticity, merely for your need to be loved. This is how dependent relationships are created. Two incomplete people clinging to each other to avoid confronting their own voids. Jung teaches us that true love can only exist between whole individuals. If you have not done the inner work, if you have not come to know yourself, if you have not integrated your shadow, if you have not embraced every part of yourself, what you attract will not be love. It will be a reflection of your deficiencies, the shadow in love. When you become fixated on another, when you lose yourself in them, one of Jung's most powerful concepts is the shadow, everything we repress, deny, or refuse to see within ourselves. And this shadow plays a critical role in our relationships. If you have not worked on your shadow, you will seek out someone to embody it. You will project onto your partner everything you have not resolved within yourself. For example, if you have a fear of being alone in your shadow, you will attract people who reinforce that fear. If you have a feeling of inadequacy in your shadow, you will consistently be with someone who makes you feel inadequate. And thus, unknowingly, you will repeat the same story with different characters. The key to overcoming this is observation. Ask yourself, what are the recurring cycles in my relationships? What types of people do I tend to attract? And what do they teach me about my own inner state? What are my greatest fears in love? And how have these influenced my choices? When you analyze your story from this perspective, you begin to see connections you never noticed before. You realize that the problem was never the other person. It was the energy you emitted and the things you allowed. The love you received has been a perfect reflection of the love you gave yourself. This journey from lack to abundance isn't just theory, it's a practice. So how do you actually do this? Let's break down the practical, actionable steps to transform your life and the love you attract. The inner work. 6 steps to transform your attraction. Love is not sought, it is attracted. This is a fundamental point. Love is not something to be chased. It is not something found in another person. It is something you cultivate within yourself, and as a result, it manifests in your life in the right way. If you feel incomplete and are searching for someone to fill you, you will attract relationships that revalidate that emptiness. But if you feel whole, you will attract people who reflect that wholeness. This is where the concept of vibration and resonance comes into play. People do not meet by chance. They attract each other because they are on a similar frequency. If you want to attract conscious love, you must first become a conscious person. If you want to attract respect, you must first respect yourself. If you want to attract stability, you must first cultivate your inner stability, the inner work that transforms your life. True transformation occurs when you stop focusing on the ideal partner and instead focus on becoming the best version of yourself. How is this done? I will tell you in 6 high-value steps. 1. Heal emotional wounds. Confront and process the pain you carry within. Make peace with your past and release the emotional burdens that have conditioned you. 2. Reprogram beliefs about love. Identify the limiting thoughts you hold about relationships and replace them with a healthier, more balanced vision. 3. Practice self-love. Learn to give yourself what you have always expected from others. Treat yourself with the same compassion and care you wish to receive in a relationship. 4. Develop emotional independence. Build a life where you do not need to rely on another person to complete you. 5. Break unconscious patterns. Question where your choices in love originate from and make decisions based on consciousness, not fear or habit. 6. Expand your identity. Stop defining yourself through the need for a relationship. You are so much more than a relationship. When you commit to these steps, everything changes. In this final section, let's solidify this profound truth and claim the power that has always been yours. When you transform into someone who genuinely enjoys their life without dependence on another, the love you attract changes radically. When you do this inner work, the love that enters your life is a reflection of that transformation. It no longer comes from a place of lack or fear. It comes from a conscious choice. It is no longer a desperate need, but a connection that does not diminish you. On the contrary, it adds to your life. In conclusion, you are worthy. You deserve a conscious love. If there is one thing I want you to take away from all of this, it is this. You are worthy, not because someone tells you so, not because a relationship validates it. You already are, unconditionally. You have grown, you have learned, you have suffered and healed. You have experienced moments of self-doubt, feeling inadequate, believing that love had to be earned. But I want you to remember this, now, here, and today. You do not need to beg for neediness. You do not need to settle for less. You do not need to plead for attention. You are love. And when you understand this in the deepest parts of your being, the love you attract will reflect this truth. Do not doubt yourself. Do not doubt what you deserve. And if you ever feel yourself faltering, come back here. Return to these words and remember, you are enough, you are powerful, and you deserve a love that matches your greatness. Now, I want to solidify this truth in your mind. Leave a comment with this declaration. The love I attract is a reflection of the love I give myself. Write it, repeat it, and make it your own, because it is the truth. And if this video has provided you with value, what would someone with a powerful mind do? They would share it. Liking is free, and it helps us greatly to continue producing content. And if you have not already, you can subscribe to the channel to continue learning about letting go, growing, and becoming emotionally empowered.